Hi, I'm Randy, founder and CEO of Zen Habitats, and today we're going to walk you through how to build this 2x2x4 Zen Habitats enclosure. Okay, so let's first go through what comes with your 2x2x4 enclosure. You're going to receive a packet like this, which is going to include several items. First, it's going to have 8 screws and a little screwdriver. You can use a screwdriver, or if you have a power drill, you can use that as well. It's going to come with 2 door locks and 2 catches, and some of them might be in the same bag, so just make sure to look for that. Then we also have 2 different options for your wire grommets. We have your wire grommet that you can run wires through. If you have a silly noodle that likes to escape, we also have a solid plug as well. So now let's go through your frame pieces. You're going to have 2 nearly 4-foot frame pieces that have a single track on each side, and these are for the back corners of your enclosure. You're going to have one with the double track on one side and a single on the other, and that's going to be for the front of your enclosure where the hinge is for your door. We have 2 different options for your front door where you're going to have your latch, and so it has a removable piece here, and there's 2 different options, and we'll walk through which one to use when we go through the installation. We have your bottom door track. Next, we have your completed top screen and your pre-assembled bottom panel. So we have 2 options for the bottom of your enclosure. So you have a solid substrate shield or a screen shield. And you're just going to use whichever works best for you. If you have a reptile that needs high humidity, you're going to use your humidity shield to put on top of the screen. And the way you know this is different from your substrate shield is it's really flexible. Next, we have your acrylic door, and you're just going to need to peel off the protective plastic film. And finally, you're going to have 3 panels. One is going to have a grommet hole, and this is going to go on the back of the enclosure, and the other 2 are going to be solid for each of your sides. Okay, to start the build, what we're going to need is our bottom panel and the 2 back frames. And the way you can tell this is a back frame is there is a single channel on 2 sides of the frame. So again, 1 channel on each side, that's for the 2 back corners. And what we want to do is align it to the back of the bottom panel. Now with the bottom panel, the way you can tell where the front is you're going to look for that Zen Habitats logo. That's going to be the front of your enclosure. So this obviously then will be your back. So what we're going to do is align the 2 back frames to the bottom of the panel. And we want to make sure that the 2 channels are aligned with the channels in the bottom frame here. So we're just going to make sure that those are lined up nicely. Do the same thing on the other side. And we're going to go ahead and screw it in. Okay, so the next part is a little tricky. We just have to kind of think through how we're going to set up our enclosure. So for me, what I want to do when this enclosure is fully set up, I want the door to swing this way, right? So it's going to swing from my right to left. Maybe reverse it because you're looking at me on camera. So now what we need to do is find the aluminum frame that has a double channel on one side and a single channel on the other. And this is going to be for the side that the door hinges on. So we're going to put that on this corner right here. So we'll be able to align it just like that. We'll put that in 1 second. Now we have 2 different pieces that have these little holes drilled into them, and they have a sliding piece here. And this is the side where your door is going to lock into. And so what we have to do is make sure that the holes are towards the top, and when the door tracks are all lined up, the channels are all lined up, that the holes are towards the top. Now I know that's going to be on the correct side. If I use this other piece, when I look at the holes being the middle and the top, and if I were to put it on this side, the channels won't align. They're facing the wrong direction. So that's how I know this is the wrong piece. And this one here holds towards the upper side, and in the middle, the channels align, and we're in a good place. We're going to go ahead and screw it in. So next we need to decide what type of substrate shield we're going to use. Are we going to use the solid substrate shield, the acrylic one, or the screen one? And in our case, we're going to use the screen shield. So I'm going to set the acrylic one aside, and we want to slide it into the front 2 frames here. But before we do that, we need to remove this piece here. So now that I removed the inner sleeve, we're going to go ahead and put the screen in place. And I want to put it to the front of the 2 channels for the front frame. Now we need to put in the bottom door frame. And the bottom door frame has a little lip on the top, a single channel on the bottom, and 2 holes on each end for the hinge of the doors. And what we're going to need to do is slide it to the top of the frame, and bring it all the way down and lock it right on top of this. When I go to put this in place, again, I'm looking for that single channel on the bottom, and I want this towards the front, and that would put this little lip a little bit towards the back. And I just need to make sure I align these two pieces of the these two pieces of the door frame with these two slots in the front corner frame. Now that I've aligned it on both frames, I'm just going to slowly, evenly press down. So now that we have the bottom door track in place, we need to put back our door stop into the frame where the door is going to lock. And we want to make sure that this lip is facing towards the back, or is on the back half. And we're just going to go ahead and slide it in. So now we're going to slide in our side panels. And again, I just want to make sure for the side panels, I put them between the two slots and put them in place. And now we're going to put in the back panel, making sure that the hole for the grommet is on the upper side of the enclosure. Our next step is to put on our screen, and what we want to make sure is, one, that the support bars are going to be on the bottom here, and that this little lip, again, that door stop, is towards the front of the enclosure. So I'm going to take this and I'll line it up with the frame on the top. Now when we're screwing in the screen, we only want to attach the back two corners to the frame. After we assemble the door, then we'll go ahead and put the screws into the front. And of course, the funnest part of any new purchase, peeling off the protective film. To install the door, I just want to make sure that I align the little pin to the hole on the bottom of the door frame here, and then I did the same thing to the top here. And the reason we kept the frame loose was to allow us to have that flexibility right there. And so now that the door is in, we're going to go ahead and finish screwing the frame to the screen. With a 2x2x4 enclosure, it comes with two locks. And what we want to do is install them in the doors using these little screws and little bolts. When I'm putting in these locks, I personally like to lock by twisting this way and then unlocking this way. So I verified that that's the right way. I'm just going to align the holes and put the screw in place. In order for the door locks to work, we need to put these catches onto the frame of the enclosure itself. And I want to make sure the notch is facing the inside where the door is going to come and lock into place. So I'm just going to take this screw, line it up to these holes, and screw it in place. Now we need to decide which one of the two grommets we're going to use for this enclosure. Because we're going to be using a misting system on the inside and some lights, we're going to go ahead and use our wire grommet and slide it in place. So the only thing left to do is, if you're going to use a humidity shield, peel off the film and place it on top of the screen opposite of any type of heat source or where you need your ventilation. And so that's how easy it is to set up this 2x2x4 Reptile enclosure. If you have any questions, you can reach out to us on the chat box on our website, zenhabitats.com, or you can email us at support@zenhabitats.com. Thanks for watching, everybody.